Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Absolutely. Always love digging into these.
Today, we're tackling something a lot of us are interested in, happiness. Specifically, some really cool strategies based on this tippyforhappiness.pdf.
Ah, this looks interesting.
Yeah, and what's awesome is it's not just theory. It's all about building habits.
Habits.
You know? So whether you're trying to boost your own mood, prepping for a presentation on well-being,
Right.
or just curious, there's a lot to unpack here. I mean, where do we even start?
Well, what strikes me right off the bat is how it frames happiness. It's not like reaching some destination. It's this ongoing process, you know?
Totally, yeah.
Like building a muscle, but for your mind.
Exactly. And they're big on starting small. Like one thing they emphasize a lot is gratitude journaling.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
But I think sometimes people hear that and think, really? Just writing down good things?
It seems almost too simple.
Yeah. So why is it actually powerful?
Well, research shows that focusing on what you're grateful for actually helps rewire your brain.
Okay.
Like it starts to notice more positive things throughout the day.
Interesting.
It's not just about feeling good in the moment. It's like training your attention.
So it's kind of like a mental workout, but for happiness.
Exactly. And they also talk a lot about mindfulness, which kind of goes hand in hand.
Right. Mindfulness. It seems to be everywhere, but
Yeah.
if someone's totally new to it,
Right.
what's the quick explanation?
Mindfulness is all about being present, like right here, right now.
Got it.
You're noticing your breath, your body, sounds around you,
Okay.
but without getting all caught up in thoughts and worries.
Easier said than done sometimes.
It definitely takes practice,
Okay.
but it's super helpful for managing stress.
Makes sense. And another big focus in this document is the power of connection.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not just talking about any interaction. It's about meaningful relationships.
Right, that deep connection.
So how does that work? Not just in our feelings, but like in our brains.
Well, we're wired to be social creatures, right? So those connections fulfill deep psychological needs.
Okay.
Things like belonging, support, feeling understood.
Makes sense.
And there's even research showing how powerful it is for us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like studies have found that volunteering your time actually leads to a longer lifespan.
That's amazing.
And it even reduces the risk of depression.
All right.
Helping others, it's like a win-win.
I love that. Okay, moving on. There's a section on the mind-body connection. And honestly, I was expecting the usual eat your veggies, get some exercise stuff.
Right, that's the go-to, yeah.
But this felt different somehow.
It dives a little deeper,
Okay.
right? It's about recognizing how interconnected our physical and mental states really are.
Yeah, totally.
So like exercise, we know that releases endorphins, and those have mood-boosting effects.
Right, runner's high and all that.
Exactly. And they even highlight specific things about diet,
Okay.
like how a diet rich in antioxidants can actually positively impact your brain chemistry.
Ooh, see, now you've got my attention. What kind of foods are we talking about?
They talk about berries, dark chocolate, even coffee.
Oh, now healthy eating sounds a lot more fun. Okay, next up, we've got meaning and achievement.
And I feel like this is where it gets really personal.
Definitely. It's about more than just checking things off a list.
Right.
It's about finding goals that are aligned with your values.
Okay.
Finding work or activities that resonate with, like your core beliefs and passions.
It's about finding your purpose, essentially.
Exactly. And when you're doing those things that feel truly meaningful,
Right.
well, your motivation just soars. You experience this deeper sense of fulfillment.
That makes sense. But I think a lot of people get stuck on the how.
The how, yeah.
Like, okay, great, but how do I even find my purpose?
That's the big question. The document talks a lot about self-reflection,
Self-reflection, okay.
like asking yourself, what activities make me feel energized, alive? Or what impact do I want to have on the world? The answers might really surprise you. I think those are questions everyone needs to ask themselves. Okay, this next section is something I think we all struggle with, cultivating positivity.
Oh, yeah, positivity can be tough.
And it's not about pretending everything's perfect.
No, not at all. It's more about consciously choosing what you let into your mental space.
So like setting boundaries.
Exactly. They talk about limiting negative inputs. And a lot of that comes from, social media, the news.
Oh, for sure. It's like a constant barrage sometimes.
Right. So it's about being mindful of the information you consume.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the environments you expose yourself to, I guess that's part of it too.
Absolutely. It all plays a role.
Thinking about this whole positivity thing, what happens when things inevitably go wrong? Because, let's face it, that's life. They talk about bouncing back. Is that just a fancy way of saying get over it?
It's a bit more nuanced than that. It's about building resilience.
Resilience. Oh.
Learning from setbacks, not letting them completely define you.
So not letting those negative experiences derail you completely.
Exactly. They talk about the importance of accepting imperfection, being kind to yourself.
Self-compassion, right? That's huge.
And also seeking support when you need it, not being afraid to ask for help.
There's so much power in that. Okay, last but not least, we have joyful engagement. And this one almost feels too simple, like just have fun.
It sounds so basic, right? But we really do need to prioritize joy.
Yeah, I think a lot of us forget that in the busyness of life.
It's easy to get caught up in the hustle. But they talk about hobbies, connecting with nature, travel, all those things.
I feel like this is where that work-life balance comes in, making time for things that bring us joy.
Exactly. It's about de-stressing, broadening your perspective. Like, for me personally, hiking in the mountains really recharges me.
Oh, I can totally relate to that. Getting out in nature is so grounding.
It really is.
So looking at everything we've covered, it feels like the main message is that happiness isn't some finish line.
Right. It's not like you arrive at Happyville and that's it.
Yeah. It's an ongoing process, something you're always working on.
And what's great is this document gives you a whole toolkit to work with.
Absolutely. Not a one-size-fits-all solution, but options to try and see what works for you.
Exactly.
As we wrap up, think about which of these habits really resonated with you today.
Yeah, which one stood out?
Pick one to experiment with this week and see how it impacts your well-being.
Even small changes can make a big difference.
That's such great advice. So many amazing ideas here for a happier, more fulfilling life. And remember, it all starts with a single step. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It was a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Until then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.